everyone. A very good morning. You're watching the breakfast news on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this morning's headlines. Ahead of the crucial Eurozone meet today, Greece makes fresh proposal to avoid a debt repayment default, proposes new taxes and levies on companies. Bangladesh come out on top, crushing India by 6 wickets to claim the ODI series with an unassailable 2-0 lead. Mustafizur Rahman, the hero of the Tigers once again. After Sushma Swaraj and Vasundhara Raje, Mumbai Police Commissioner Rakesh Maria in soup over meeting with Lalit Modi. Maharashtra Chief Minister seeks explanation. And India leads the world in celebrating the first International Yoga Day, establishes 2 world records in the process. Well, ahead of the crucial Eurozone meet in Brussels today, Greece has made fresh proposals to avoid a default on the IMF loan. This following a cabinet meeting yesterday evening headed by Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras. Today's Eurozone meeting is likely to decide Greece's future in Europe's currency bloc. Here's more.
An 11th-hour concession by Greece to pull out the cash-strapped country from the brink of a default. Following Sunday's marathon cabinet meeting, Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras has expressed his government's willingness to make concessions that would unlock frozen aid to avert a default. Reports suggest that Tsipras discussed the new offer with the leaders of Germany, France and European Commission in a telephonic conversation. He is expected to meet European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker, the European Central Bank President and IMF chief ahead of the EU meeting.
Are we getting there? Are we getting there? Can you sell to your party? Can you sell to the party if you get a deal?
French President François Hollande confirmed new offer by Greece, even though EU diplomats say no formal written proposal has arrived so far. Among the measures discussed by the Greek cabinet are new taxes, the elimination of early retirement allowances and a levy on companies. However, the cabinet is firm on no cuts to pension plans and wages.
Pas optimiste, je ne suis pas pessimiste. Je dis que nous sommes dans un moment crucial et que toutes les heures vont compter pour que la discussion puisse trouver sa conclusion pour le Conseil de la zone euro, je l'espère.
L'Italia può essere la soluzione insieme agli altri, parte della soluzione. Quindi se la domanda riguardava le eventuali difficoltà.
In Greece, thousands gathered outside the parliament on Sunday, urging the government not to back down under pressure from creditors. The Greek PM's new proposals are expected to prevent a default on a €1.6 billion IMF loan. The country must repay the loan by the end of June or risk crashing out of single currency and possibly the EU. Diplomatic talks have been in deadlock for the last 5 months, with the European Commission, the IMF and the European Central Bank unwilling to unlock until Greece agrees to economic reforms. Analysts say that Greece must have to impose capital controls within days if there is no breakthrough in the Eurozone talks in Brussels. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, joining me for a chat this morning to talk about this is Himanshu Vatt, Senior Editor of The Economic Times. Very good morning, Himanshu, and thank you for joining us on the program. As far as the fresh proposals are concerned, will they really help Greece avoid this default on the IMF loan?
See, if the creditors think the fresh proposals are going far enough to instill confidence in the creditors, then it could postpone the day of reckoning. See, the key issue is Greece is used to very generous pensions. They have not been able to manage their budgets very well. Their debts are pretty high. So as a result, there's a risk, when some big bank lends money to Greece, the risk that it may not get it back is pretty high. So before they lend again, they would want Greece to set its own house in order. And that is where the negotiations are just now. Greece is a democracy, so there's a lot of public pressure against austerity measures, whereas banks are saying, and the other governments who have had a more disciplined economy like Germany, France, etc., they are saying you also get your act together before we reach out and bail you out. So it depends on what are the concrete proposals and how much do they satisfy the creditors, give them the confidence that lending money to this country is not such a big risk, you might still get it back.
Now, so what happens if Greece really defaults on the loan? How will it impact the Eurozone in particular, and what kind of an economic impact it will have on the world as a whole?
See, Greece as such, if you look at its GDP, it's hardly 2 or 3% of Europe. So it is not very significant that way. But it will be a very major development. It will be the first case of a failure in a country since the euro was adopted and the European nations came together. It's just like 7 or 8 years ago when you had this Lehman Brothers collapsing. It was just one of the many banks, but that triggered such a panic that it led to a recession in the entire Western world. Similarly, if Greece defaults, there are other high debt countries in Europe, like you have Italy, you have a couple of other countries. So there could be panic in those countries that, if you're not getting your debt properly handled, things could collapse. For Europe itself, it won't be a very good sign, because Europe is it was meant to keep coming closer and closer together. And once you had a monetary union, it required every country to have, certain limits on debt, certain limits on fiscal deficits. And if this country goes out of control and has to leave the euro, it's a big financial setback. So it can have ripples all over the world.
There is a key summit that is slated to take place later on today to decide on whether Greece should still be a part of the Eurozone or not. What's likely to happen in that meeting? Do you believe that Greece is still going to be a part of the Eurozone after this meeting?
It would depend a lot on what concessions the Prime Minister is willing to offer. He is facing a lot of protests from his own constituency, his people who do not want any more austerity. But I think there is some chance they might, offer a little more corporate taxation. They might offer a little more fiscal discipline. And it finally comes down to what are the concrete proposals and whether the creditors, the lenders to Greece, they think whether these proposals will only defer or default by some time, or will Greece actually come to the recovery path. And all this actually has a lot of bearing and lots of lessons for everybody in the world, including India. The whole concept of fiscal discipline versus demands in a democracy.
All right, Himanshu Vats, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us there on the program this morning. Here's a quick wrap now of all the other international news this Monday morning. High-profile Al Jazeera journalist Ahmed Mansoor, who was arrested in Germany on Egypt's request, is expected to face a judge who will decide on whether he should be extradited. Cairo's criminal court sentenced the journalist to 15 years in prison in absentia last year. Mansoor was arrested in Germany on Saturday as he tried to board a flight to Doha. France's top diplomat came to the Middle East this weekend to take a crack at solving the seemingly unsolvable Israeli-Palestinian conflict. France has offered a new way forward, including a possible UN resolution. Israeli leaders were hostile to the French proposal, even as the Palestinians seemed polite but distant. The foreign ministers of Japan and South Korea have agreed to aim for a three-way summit with China by the end of the year. It also paved the way for the first one-on-one meeting between Tokyo and Seoul's leaders. The strain in ties has complicated efforts to boost security cooperation as the region copes with the unpredictable North Korea and an assertive China. 4 Islamist gunmen were killed on Sunday after a foiled attack on the government site in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. The militants detonated a car bomb and shot their way into a National Intelligence Agency training site. A spokesman for Al-Shabaab, which wants to topple the Somali government, said that the group's fighters had killed more than 10 intelligence officials. Let's move on to some sports news now. India slumped to a new low as they suffered their first ever one-day series defeat against Bangladesh following an embarrassing 6-wicket defeat in the second ODI on Sunday. The hosts have claimed the series with an unassailable 2-0 lead. The third and final ODI is to be played in Dhaka on June 24th.
The hosts were given a target of 200 runs in a rain-hit 47 overs a side match. Bangladesh faced little problem in reaching that figure thanks to all-rounder Shakib Al Hasan's second successive half-century along with cameos from Liton Das, Soumya Sarkar and Mushfiqur Rahman. Sabir Rahman steered Aksar Patel to third man for the winning run, with Shakib unbeaten on 51 at the other end. He played a smashing 62-ball innings. The win, which followed Thursday's 79-run success, all but confirmed Bangladesh's place in the 2017 ICC Champions Trophy to be played in England after it cemented 7th position in the ODI rankings. Earlier, Dhoni's men entered the match keen to avenge their first match loss, winning the toss and electing to bat first. But Bangladeshi bowlers made quick inroads into the Indian team, reducing the visitors to 110 for 4. Shikhar Dhawan scored 53 runs. Later, Captain MS Dhoni and Suresh Raina joined hands to help the team out of a crisis. But their 53-run stand was not enough for India to put up a formidable total. The Indian innings folded at 200 when Mustafizur bowled out Jadeja off his final delivery after the rain break, and Rubel ended India's innings 2 balls later to finish with 2 for 26. Mustafizur Rahman was the hero again, cutting through India's batting with a 6-wicket haul to add to his 5-4 on his ODI debut and launching Bangladesh to their first ever bilateral series win against India. Mustafizur's 6 for 43 is the second best figure by a Bangladeshi bowler in ODIs. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Joining me on the phone line right now is the sports editor of the DNA, Shekhar Luthra. Good morning, Shekhar. Thank you for joining us on the program. As far as the Bangladesh versus India series is concerned, we've seen a very different Bangladeshi side ever since that win against England in the World Cup earlier this year. They certainly look a different outfit when they come out onto the field when they are playing ODIs, don't they?
Thanks. I'm so sure that Indians were, though, they were touring Bangladesh, but somewhere, this was a tired-looking side after playing, this consecutively first in the World Cup and before that Australia and then IPL. Probably IPL has completely squeezed this squad. But overall, yes, you are very much right that this was a completely different Bangladeshi side. Not in terms of playing, but I think in terms of their approach. I think the way they approached this entire first 2 matches and before that, test match, I think you have to commend this side because this is a completely different side, especially the bowling side, the bowling department under Heat Streak. If you remember Heat Streak, he has always troubled India, and the same thing probably he has given to these bowlers, that how to bowl against these Indians. And especially the moment Suresh Raina came, if you remember, there was a barrage of, short pitch deliveries, and they all, targeted him on and around chest.
That's an interesting point that you're raising, Shekhar. I mean, they certainly seemed like they had a plan and they executed that plan in the bowling department because they bowled to the Indian batsmen's weak zone time after time.
Yes, the wickets were very easy. If you compare these wickets with any of the Indian wicket, it's the same Indian domestic wicket. There was hardly any kind of monster in the wicket. So the only problem or the only strategy they had was to plan to a particular line against each and every individual. And then talk about Dhoni also, because probably for me Dhoni era is over. Dhoni should step down immediately. For the simple reason, I have been maintaining it for last 18 months, ever since Supreme Court, inquiry began, that Dhoni should sidestep. Whether or no, we all know that there were rumors, there were things against him and his team. So probably this is a time for a new beginning for Team India. But overall, his decisions, last night, dropping Ajinkya Rahane and coming at number 4 at a time when he's struggling with his bat for last 8 months.
Right.
Mahendra Singh Dhoni has not done anything with the bat. At that time, to drop a informed batsman like Ajinkya Rahane, I think there are questions.
Certainly. Several questions that will be raised in the coming days as well. Thank you so much, Shekhar Luthra, for joining us on the phone line this morning, putting things into perspective for us. Remains to be seen whether or not it is going to be the end of the road for Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I guess the BCCI will take a decision soon after this series. Let's now take a look at all the other overnight sports news in our sports beat. Roger Federer displayed his preparedness for Wimbledon by defeating Italy's Andrea Seppi 7-6, 6-4 on Sunday to claim his record 8th Jerry Weber Open title. This was Federer's 15th title from 20 finals on grass and his 86th career title from 130 finals overall. German Angelique Kerber battled for more than 2 hours to beat Czech opponent Karolina Pliskova 6-7, 6-3, 7-6 and win the Aegon Classic Birmingham title on Sunday. The number 4 seed was pushed to the limit by the 6th seed, but she prevailed in 2 hours and 17 minutes. Nico Rosberg celebrated his 3rd win in 4 races, beating Mercedes teammate and series leader Lewis Hamilton in the Austrian Grand Prix. Rosberg repeated his 2014 success when he came home a comfortable 3.8 seconds clear of the defending world champion, reducing his lead from 17 points to 10. It's time for a short break now, but still to come. The first sign of a fissure within the NDA. LJP to contest against HAM candidates in Bihar polls. Details coming up on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
New government in New Delhi. New faces.
People are not investing because they are scared of your tax administration.
New thinking.
The auction process is a fair and good process.
You cannot have a one-size-fits-all reform policy.
For insights and perspective.
Judiciary should be more concerned about corruption within itself.
The Modi government slogan of "Achhe din aane wale hain." Soon the people's slogan will be "Hamare purane din lauta do."
The biggest show on economic policy. Watch State of the Economy.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, here's a look now at the news and updates that we will be tracking today in our segment, The Day Ahead. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will address participants at an event organized by the Stanford Institute for Economic Policy Research in San Francisco. The topic of his speech will be India's economic future. He will also interact with the TIE leadership and hold meetings with foreign investors. Jaitley is scheduled to return to India on the 25th of June. Delhi's former Law Minister Jitendra Singh Tomar's bail plea in connection with the fake degree case will come up for hearing in a court today. Tomar is accused of fabricating documents and submitting fake degrees while filing his nomination for the Delhi Assembly polls. Yesterday, he was sent to Tihar jail after a court refused him bail. AIADMK Supremo and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha will hit the campaign trail in RK Nagar Assembly constituency for the by-poll scheduled on June 27. She will launch a campaign from the statue of her political mentor and party founder MGR, after which she will campaign in different places and address 2 public rallies. Though there are 28 candidates in the fray, the main fight is expected to be between Jayalalitha and C. Mahendran of the CPI. Noted journalist and BJP national spokesperson MJ Akbar will file his nomination for the Rajya Sabha by-polls from Jharkhand. Today is the last day of filing nomination. Akbar was nominated by the Central Election Committee of the party. By-election has been necessitated following the resignation of Dr. Kanwardeep Singh in February. Polling, if necessary, will be held on July 2nd. Moving on now, in what is being seen as a fissure within the NDA camp, Ramvilas Paswan-led LJP has said that it plans to oppose 5 present and former MLAs associated with the Hindustani Awam Morcha. The HAM is led by former Bihar Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi. Manjhi's HAM became part of NDA just days ago. The party has already informed its senior partner, the BJP, of the decision. The said HAM MLAs were part of the LJP once and had parted ways with the party in 2005. The LJP had earlier hailed Manjhi's decision to join the NDA, saying that his party would boost the BJP-led coalition's electoral prospects in Bihar and pose a strong challenge to the Nitish-Lalu combine.
मांझी जी के साथ में जो लोग हैं वो लोग यदि एनडीए में आएंगे, जो लोग पहले लोजपा में थे, लोजपा छोड़ के चले गए, उसका हमारी पार्टी विरोध करेगी, हम अपना उम्मीदवार देंगे।
पुरानी बात को लेकर के अगर चलेंगे तो हम नहीं समझते हैं कि रामविलास जी ऐसे काम करेंगे, ऐसा हमको विश्वास नहीं है। और अगर ऐसा किए होंगे तो सोचेंगे इस पर, और कोई तर्क नहीं है इसमें।
आप बात करेंगे पासवान जी से?
निश्चित बात करेंगे।
Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has sought clarification from the Mumbai Police Commissioner Rakesh Maria regarding his meeting with former IPL chief Lalit Modi. The said meeting took place in London last year. Reports say Maria admitted to having met Modi in 2014 on the insistence of the latter's lawyer. The Mumbai Police Commissioner's disclosure comes at a time when External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje are also fighting fire over their role in helping the tainted former IPL Commissioner. While Swaraj had asked British authorities to examine a request to provide travel documents to Lalit last year, Raje is accused of having supported his application for immigration to the UK in 2011.
राकेश मारिया जी के प्रकरण में हमने उनसे स्पष्टीकरण मांगा है, उनसे इन्फॉर्मेशन मांगी है, जानकारी मांगी है। उस जानकारी को देखने के बाद, परखने के बाद कार्रवाई की आवश्यकता है या नहीं है, इसका निर्णय सरकार करेगी।
Let's now take a look at the other national news and updates in our segment Nationwide. A gunfight erupted between militants and security forces in Kulgam district of South Kashmir on Sunday evening. The encounter started after the police, army and the CRPF cordoned off the Redwini Bala area of Kulgam district following intelligence inputs about the presence of militants in the area. Latest reports say that the operation was halted due to darkness. Days after a killer heatwave, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh are now fighting heavy rains. Fears of floods forced people out of their homes in Warangal. The flood water also cut off road links to several villages and hampered rail and bus services. The Met Department has predicted moderate to heavy rain or thunder showers at many places over the next 3 days. With the death of 7 more persons in the last 24 hours, the toll due to consumption of spurious liquor in Mumbai climbed to 97. 46 others are still undergoing treatment in various city hospitals. Police have arrested 2 bootleggers in connection with the incident. The state government has announced compensation of 1 lakh rupees each to the families of those who died. Let's shift focus now as the world joined India in celebrating the first International Yoga Day. 2 new world records were set in the country. The record for the largest yoga class with 35,985 people attending the event at Rajpath and the record for most nationalities participating at a single yoga event. People from 85 nationalities took part in the event to mark the event on Sunday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated all for the record set and for the successful conduct of the event. The Rajpath event broke the earlier record set on 19 November 2005 when nearly 29,973 students from 362 schools had performed a sequence of yogic kriyas for Surya Namaskar simultaneously for 18 minutes.
I can officially declare that the Ministry of Ayush has been awarded with 2 Guinness World Records titles. So congratulations! The first record we were called upon verifying was the largest yoga lesson. And the second was the most nationalities in a yoga lesson.
The first International Yoga Day garnered significant support with millions joining in across the world in an effort to promote a cleaner way of living and a healthier body. Several countries held mass yoga sessions. The day was adopted as the official International Day of Yoga by the UN last year. Here's more.
Marking the first International Yoga Day, millions of yoga enthusiasts across the world took to mats. From China to France, people celebrated the ancient Indian spiritual practice. At the UN headquarters, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and UN Chief Ban Ki-moon took part in the mass yoga program. It started with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's video address on World Yoga Day.
भारत इस बात के लिए गर्व अनुभव करता है कि यूएनओ ने इस विषय को आगे बढ़ाया। दुनिया के 177 कंट्रीज ने उसको को-स्पॉन्सर किया और भारत की अनमोल विरासत आज विश्व की अनमोल विरासत बनी है।
At a time when ethnic conflicts and extremist violence are threatening to destabilize societies, yoga can serve as a perfect antidote to stem such negative tendencies and move us on the path of harmony and peace. I am confident that yoga can also become a potent tool for the United Nations to promote the message of brotherhood and amity in the finest Indian tradition of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
This is a wonderful addition to the United Nations calendar. I commend His Excellency Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Government of India for taking this initiative to spread the practice of yoga far and wide across the world.
Meanwhile, Indian High Commissions across different countries organize yoga events attended in large numbers. In Australia, yoga sessions were held at the Sydney Harbour, while in France, a large number of people practiced yoga under the Eiffel Tower. Neighbours China and Nepal also rolled out yoga mats, along with countries like Singapore, Thailand and Cambodia. Back home, heads of several states also participated in mass yoga sessions and announced various initiatives to popularize the ancient art. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu even announced a grant of 25 crore rupees for conducting such events on a regular basis. The Indian Defence Forces, however, stole the show. From ice-capped Siachen, the highest battlefield in the world, to warships in the contentious South China Sea, the Army and the Navy personnel literally took yoga to greater heights and newer depths. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a nice day.